Good morning to a lot of my US audience, and happy Thanksgiving. Want us to get that one in there. And good afternoon to a lot of the UK and European audience. Thank you very much to my European audience in Amsterdam in particular, and my Dutch audience for an amazing event. But we'll come back to that in a minute, and you can see some of the bits over here. Firstly, our newsletter. We were talking about perfect treasury roles that turned out to be anything but perfect. This is one of the key things. Now, people in the past, is it a salesy pitch? It wasn't actually a sales pitch. It was one of the things that I've said before, that I can act with honesty and integrity in all things. If there's a tough role that we need to recruit, tell someone. If you're recruiting it, because there's nothing worse than putting someone into a role, they go there, they say, actually, it's not what you did behind the scenes. We have this picture that actually shows they open the door and it's absolute mayhem. That's why we did it. We created it to show that when you do that with people, it's just not fair. People are going there and saying, hang on, you said this is going to be great. So what you want to do is set a realistic goal, because also if someone goes into that role and they're not right for it, they're not going to enjoy it, and they're going to fall out. Now, the flip side is a lot of people that I've placed in roles like that have said, actually, Mike, it's not as bad as all that. Oh, okay. They said, no. And actually, I've learned a lot from it, got on with the CFO, got into the business and really enjoyed it. So that was one of the key things. And this is also, the other thing I would say is based on some real life experiences with some of the candidates. There's a couple that have said, actually, do you know what? We're up for this challenge. There's a couple that said the other, said, actually, time for me to go. And we're here to help on that. Other things, Amsterdam. You can see here on the video here. So there's me, yeah. Engin Dortepi from Sabic. Yeah, Aicha, get that right, yeah. From Bungie, and Mania Campesi now with Lyondell Bazaar. Amazing. 3 incredible speakers. And then up there, you got, the networking was off the charts. That was everyone just before we went in the room. That was the before, and you should see the after. Yeah, probably you don't want to see those photos. I've got to say, thank you very much. And I asked a few people whilst I was there, said, we had a full room. Actually, we, at one stage, we were worried we weren't going to have enough spaces. We had 65, 70 people in the room. And I said, why didn't you? So look, before I said that, I want to say a big thanks to our hosts. Firstly, Baker McKenzie, amazing offices, great hosts, also our sponsors, Chatham Financial, TIS and State Street. We couldn't do it without these guys. But they actually were saying to me, Mike, one of your best of the year. In fact, if not the best for Europe. And I was like, oh, thanks very much. We did our London one last week, was pretty good. But you set the bar high. And I was asking people why. And they said, there aren't many events like this where you get to hear from 3 incredible treasurers. This will come up as a video. We did video the session. It's also going to come up as a future podcast. Lots of people hadn't heard about the podcast. You need to hear about the podcast. 405, 408 episodes, treasurycareercorner.com. Head over there. But yeah, so a lot of people saying they don't get events like this necessarily in the Netherlands so much. The lesson learned there was they were saying there are lots of bank events. In fact, there were 2 bank events going on last night. But they said, actually, also they're sponsor-led events. But you gave us something we want as treasury professionals. We want to hear from other treasury professionals. So we're definitely doing it again next year. So look out for that one. And we're going to carry on with 2026. So look out on our website. I'll put a link in there. We've got most of the events up on there. If you're wherever you might be, we're going to be doing it in 2 in New York, 2 in London, Texas, crumbs, doing it everywhere across the world. Have a look on the website. All right. Thanks very much.